We must take pride and pleasure in congratulating everyone as we mark the first 100 days of good governance in the house of our people, City Hall, the house of our local government. On June 30 of this year, we laid out before the people of Baguio the strategy for the better Baguio, a livable Baguio. That the people of Baguio have chosen good governance, a leadership that is rooted in transparency, accountability, trust, compassion, humility, fairness, and that is what they will get. In July, both the executive and legislative divisions came together to discuss and agree on what will be the executive legislative agenda. And for this term, for the next 3 years, we shall be working on a 7-point core agenda. This agenda shall set out the foundations for our path towards preventing urban decay, which is deemed irreversible by 2030 if we are not going to do anything about it now. What we decide to do today shall define what our city will be in the future and what we are going to pass on to the next generation. It is with this inconvenient truth that we are now living beyond our city's carrying capacity that this agenda is set. And so I therefore urge our political leaders that we need to act together. Let us break the chain that links public service to that paradigm of traditional politics. Let us start and let us stop that numbers game. Let us stop that power tripping. Magkaisa tayo lahat para masolusyonan natin itong malaking problema natin ng urban decay. The 7-point agenda is a merging of our previous term 15-point agenda with the extension of merging parallel points in order to become an even more effective and measurable agenda. And so our 7-point agenda will be on the protection, conservation, and expansion of natural resources and land cover. We shall define a rational land use as well as revitalize our existing green and blue assets. It spells out our search for sustainable solutions for transportation and mobility, solid waste, liquid waste, water, drainage, and clean energy. On climate and disaster resilience, we shall align with the national agenda on lowering our greenhouse gas emissions, expand our adaptation and mitigation programs, alleviate hazard-prone communities, promote risk scenario, planning and mainstream nature-based solutions. On urban regeneration, we will continue to advocate gender equality and social inclusion, boosting health and well-being, and expand as well as improve the coverage and access of our residents' basic services. We will work on sustaining peace and order, providing more housing options, facilitating land banking, promoting equity in barangay development, and celebrating indigenous knowledge and culture and artistry identity. On youth empowerment, we will ensure their access to basic services, address education industry gaps, raise access to academic and financial aid, support entrepreneurship and innovation incubation, and most importantly, provide leadership training and youth empowerment. As I've said, it is about time that the youth should be developed as leaders of the city. They should never be called future leaders, but instead, they should now become leaders of this city. Age should never be a factor in leadership. And so I also declare that if there's anyone among the youth who will emerge as a leader in the next 3 years, I, as your mayor, is willing to step aside and allow him to run for election and hopefully win and lead the city. If there's anyone who can really institute change in the city of Baguio, these are the young people, our youth. And so we should invest in our youth. On economic development and competitiveness, we will cultivate more economic opportunities, enhance livelihood services, promote innovation and competitiveness, and advance the creative economy, as we are a creative city. On smart city management, we will continue to augment our city's technology infrastructure, expand real-time environmental data acquisition, implement the smart mobility plan, improve citywide connectivity, and involve the academe in smart city research and innovation. And finally, seventh core agenda, good governance. And I refer to good governance beyond politics. All these efforts that I have enumerated will not be made possible if they are not built on the platform of good governance. We will continue to improve revenue generation and financial management. We cannot simply rely on taxes to generate revenue. Pagod na rin ang tao. Hirap na ang tao. We can no longer impose more taxes. Hence, the city of Baguio should indulge on generation through economic enterprise, promote volunteerism, champion public participation and transparency, promote accountability and rule of law, and empower barangay ordinance or barangay governance, and promote human rights. We have implemented 59 strategic and catalytic projects in the first term, and we will continue to do so. They cover a wide array of hard and soft projects that touch on the environment, social services, health, heritage conservation, sustainable tourism, housing, youth and sports, energy saving, satellite markets, agriculture programs, parks development, multipurpose halls, and urban mobility. We are developing the necessary analytics to measure how these catalytic projects meet the sustainable development goals. For in the long run, it is imperative that we know that we are balancing property, our social, economic, and environmental programs to attain sustainability and resilience. We are likewise committed to implementing programs on climate change adaptation and mitigation. And according to our model that was presented to us by our consultants from the Asian Development Bank, 20 years from now, we're expecting a 21% increase in our rainfall in the city of Baguio. And we're looking at 2040. We are likewise committed to implementing programs on climate change, adaptation, mitigation, and nature-based solutions. We will continue reporting our accomplishments and alignments according to SDGs as well as the Ambition 2040 of the Philippines. This I can say, there will be no let-up on our efforts, for all this will lead to one thing: to become the livable community that we are aspiring for, a livable and better Baguio. We need to achieve an urban renewal that would remove the decaying marks of many years. We can only do this if we share the burden and work together, especially among our political leaders. Tama na yung pagiging obstructionist. Tama na yung pagiging mabagal tayo sa pagdesisyon. We look at things with a sense of urgency. Tama na ang pamumulitika. The city executives have also set forth their undertaking for the first 100 days to serve as the take-off point to bigger endeavors for the next 3 years. On health, a tracking system for the health provider network is being developed, and the registration and matching of 50,000 individuals to licensed and accredited health centers shall be done as we implement the universal healthcare system of the city. The fully immunized children coverage shall be increased, as well as that of prenatal and postnatal indicators. The HSO, or the Health Service Office, shall develop a health motivator model for health risk groups in our cities, such as seniors, adolescents, laborers, and frontliners. On civil registry, the Civil Registry Office conducted mobile birth registration clinics in the barangays, and our civil registry documents will soon be digitalized. On buildings, the City Building and Architecture Office will soon complete the database of structures in the Central Business District and the rest of the city. The Aurora Hill Health Center is now 80% completed. The Irisan Barangay Hall is 60% completed. And the West Quirino Hill Multipurpose Hall is 100% completed. The notice of award for the construction of the first two buildings at the Luna Terraces housing project has been released. The Post Office Park redevelopment is now underway. And I would like to give you a very positive news. Soon, hopefully next year, we will start the housing project for our local government employees. On agriculture, the City Veterinary Office has provided to 6 young farmer groups agri-enterprise ventures, as well as livelihood assistance to families in our urban agriculture program. Plans for greenhouses, as well as rabbit and chicken multiplier breeding facilities are now being completed. The City Engineering Office continues with their sidewalk recovery and improvement on roads and sidewalks that are within our schools and universities. Raised crosswalks, fronting schools and barangay halls are being completed. Loading and unloading areas have been identified, and the road right-of-way recovery is very much into implementation. On social services, our Social Welfare and Development Office has prepared for the adoption of the Social Protection Vulnerability Assessment Manual, which shall serve as the framework for strategic planning and implementation of social protection programs for the city. It shall continue with the capacity building of service providers for the implementation of the sustainable livelihood and the assistance to individuals in crisis situation. On solid waste, liquid waste, water monitoring, air monitoring, urban regreening, parks rehabilitation, land use, and forest regeneration. Our SEPMO, GSO, our city planning, and our CDDRMO are continuing on with their database development. We can only act properly if we have the necessary data and information to guide our decisions or basis of our decision. We have hosted an environmental summit for the youth and children so that they will know the problems of our city and they can come forth and help us correct these challenges by way of research and innovation. The terms of reference for the development of the Conservation Management Plan for the Dominican Heritage Hub has been completed. The output of this undertaking will provide us with the outlook on how we will implement the first heritage conservation project in the city for adaptive use. The city planning, the SEPMO, and Tourism Office are slowly working on this. On human resources, our HR, or HRMO, conducted a check on how we are meeting our departmental objectives as set forth in our performance governance system, our transformation program under the Institute for Solidarity for Asia. The result of this shall be the basis for forthcoming strategy refresh and town hall meetings. Several workshops were conducted to prepare us for our organizational development. The proposed organizational structures of all departments are now under review by the project management team. And from our finance committee, the updating of parks entrance fees, the online payment, billing and collection, as well as the planning for the conduct of the MSME Summit, as well as the Investors Summit are underway. For the Barangay Livable Community Program, the city planning has started going to the barangays to plan along with the residents on how they can transform their barangays into livable communities. This will continue for the rest of the year. All the 128 barangays will be covered. The parameters for the selection of lots for land banking had been developed by the assessor's office. A barangay AIP tracker was developed for us to monitor not only the planning and budgeting of barangay projects. We aim to improve our systems to assure that there is equitable distribution of projects selected for implementation in our respective barangays. This will be a major work in progress, and we enjoin the barangays to actively take part in the planning and submission of barangay priorities. We are firmly staying on the course that we have set, and we are likewise resolved to seize opportunities to help us arrive faster at meeting our goals. Soon, we will be in a conversation on setting out our vision for the city of Baguio, a vision that we want for 2043. We need one identity, one goal, one dream, one community, one city, one Baguio. The report provides you with a full measure of what had been done in the last 100 days and what will be done in the coming months. We will continue with the remarkable change and changes that we were started and move towards renewed growth for the new normal and that decent life that everyone hopes for. Good governance will reap its reward. Good governance will be implemented at all levels of our day-to-day decisions. We can never fail because we are on the side of God. We are on the side of truth. And by God's grace, we will succeed. Good governance is that mighty force to get us past our challenges, our inconvenient truth. Good governance will bring us out of this pandemic towards healing, towards recovery, towards unity. This I say, we will bring Baguio to that safe, smart, and livable state that it should be. We not only owe this to ourselves, we owe it to the people of Baguio, and most importantly, we owe it to the succeeding generations. Thank you to everyone. I wish you a good day ahead. Let us again roll up our sleeves and work. Maraming salamat sa inyo lahat.